Hello everyone, Be the Amazing Greek here. Today a project I want to work on is trying to make a hard shell sheath for my cold steel two-handed katana machete. What I'm going to use is, this is, what diameter is this? 1 1/4 inch Schedule 40 PVC piping. What I'm going to do is I've measured here how long I need to clear the blade. I'm probably going to give it 1/2 inch or so more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the heat gun and I'm going to flatten it like this. It needs to go a little flatter, but I checked this, and if I go a little thinner, the blade will fit inside. So I'll do that, and then to make it so that I can strap it like onto a backpack, or even if I wanted for some reason to carry it on a side or something, what I'm going to do after it's flat is I'm going to drill some holes probably on the top section and the bottom section, and use some strapping material like this, but a little bit thicker style that I have, and I'm going to rivet it on so that I have a point to strap it down, tie it to something, and could possibly, if I wanted, yeah, I don't see carrying it on the side. That's not really, well, I guess I need to make it wide enough to put on like a the military belt, the web gear belt. So I'll probably make the top one like that, just in case, or come up with some way to rig an attachment for carrying. We'll see, but that's my idea. I want to make it just so I basically can strap it onto my rucksack and have it on there like I have my kukri. So I'm going to cut this to length with the hacksaw, and then heat it up with the gun and get it flat. And we'll see if it rattles around in there. I might have to put some strapping on the inside to keep it quiet, or maybe make it a little bit snug. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on it. Okay, the end of my pipe here is not level. So what I did was I took a square, and if you set it against the pipe, you can make short, straight lines. So I made my line, move up a little bit, extend the line, extend the line, extend the line. That way I can make a good straight cut, and any just variance I have, I can sand that down and make it square. Okay, I've already made one change. I gave myself a foot of distance here before ever deciding where to put the blade. My thinking is, I might not think about it right now, but later to carrying stuff, I need to have a way to secure the blade, the tool in here. So I'm going to drill a hole all the way through and then cut part of this off, the top section. And what I'll do is fold it over, and that will let me, one, have a belt loop, and I can secure something like this, you know, to snap it so it doesn't come out. And so I give myself the length, extra length to do that. So that's why it's a little bit long. Alright, before I drill, I just want to explain what I think I'm trying to do here. I've got my pipe like that. And what I've done is I'm going to drill a hole. This isn't to scale. This is the handle part, and this is for the blade. Now I'm going to drill a hole all the way through. Then once it's drilled, I'll have this radius. And what I'm going to do is I'll take the Dremel tool or the hacksaw, and I'll cut this off. And where the radius comes here, I'll cut this off. And then what we'll do is this piece here will be gone. And then when I flatten it out, because I'm going to put pressure here and here. This should give me the backing that I'm looking for. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And we're getting ready to drill the hole. I just wanted to kind of sort of explain what I'm doing here. So, got my drill set up. Got it kind of clamped in there just so it doesn't wiggle on me. I'm trying to go for the center of this pipe. Need to come right there. Okay. Alright, so here we go. And this is a, I'm just using a 13/32. I just picked a drill out at random that had a good diameter to it. So, looks good. There we go. And then now that gives me a 1 foot section here. Like I said, I'll cut, well, obviously I can't do that with the hacksaw, and then cut down like this also, and that'll give us our working piece for the belt loop. Alright, so we got the piece off. You can see I was cutting it with my Dremel tool. Now I'll just take this to the sander there, level this stuff out a little bit just so it's nice and flat. Don't throw this piece away. This PVC stuff's awesome. Once you melt it, you can do some badass stuff. What I'm thinking, little piece like this, you can cut it, adjust. You can melt this down, and those combat gloves, those got the knuckle guard and all that on them. You could make something like that out of this, and instead of paying $35 for the gloves, you could rivet this and attach it, you know, melt this down and put it on your glove while you're wearing it and shape it. Their stuff's not as thick as this, you know, and you can get that to shape to your knuckles, and then, man, that's a powerhouse punch right there. Just smacking somebody with that. But if you got that on your hand and go to punch, that'd be bad. That'd be real bad. So I'm not going to throw any of the PVC scraps away because it is just stuff is just awesome. It's awesome. So just something off the top of my head I wanted to tell you. I decided instead to use the file just because I don't want to take too much on. I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit. I just get all the little unevenness I got from using my Dremel. I guess I could have used a jigsaw, I guess, to cut that, but I don't want it to melt. You got to go slow. That was the mistake I made when I cut the Katana handle down. I was going a little too fast, and that gave me the melt effect behind it. If you haven't seen that video, that's one of the problems I ran into. So just cut slow. You don't have to get the RPMs way up there because it generates heat. And I used that thin kerf where I explained about the blade having the waviness to it where the teeth are shaped. I should have went ahead and used the fat kerf because then I've got more space between the two sides when I cut. Yeah, that's good there. Alright. Yeah, that's not bad. Alright. Now we can start heating this up. I will probably, because of the experience I have with the bow making, and I don't mean a lot of experience from what happened to me, I'll heat this section up first, the blade section, and then I'll do the handle part, because a big section trying to heat it takes a longer time. I'll just worry about the blade section right now, flatten it out, and once I have it flat, this half piece won't be as difficult to do. So I'm going to set up and get ready to start heating this tubing. Okay, I got this hot. It's one of them things where when it starts to go, I can't really stop and get the camera going. I use the heat gun, and this 1 1/4, it takes a little bit. You got to sit there and do. But as soon as it got limpy, noodly, I pulled it off. My heating pan, I guess you call it, just cardboard with tin foil on it, aluminum foil. That way it kind of retains the heat and I can get all the heat in there. Backyard bowyer, he showed me how to make this. Then I took a flat piece of wood, I put it here, and I just started clamping it down. Got it as flat as I could. Now once it was clamped, I just took the heat gun, heated this up, and then flattened it out. And once I make sure my blade and stuff fits in here, I'll bend this, I'll heat it in the middle and bend it. So let's see if my blade will fit in here. See, nice and flat. Tough stuff. Now let's see. Hope my thinking is right. Look at that. Fits right in there. So this is from the bottom. I'm catching somewhere. looks like what I might have to do is heat these corners. This one's really flat. Yeah, it could take a little bit more. Heat it up again, and now the thing with the PVC is when you heat it back up, it'll go back to circular, is what it'll do. So, and then I'll have to heat this section and bend it back so that the hilt can fit there with it. I think when I slid it over here, I got out a square. I'm not exactly straight. I think that's what I'm catching on. Because it slides in both ends great. So right there. Yeah. It's actually pretty good and snug. A little too snug. So I'm out of straightness here. Alright. So I'll heat it up again. And I'm going to actually slide my blade in so that it gets it straight like I need it. And flatten it out again. It shouldn't take too much. It's still got a little bit of the heat I can feel in it. And so that's what I'm going to do now. That's pretty cool. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to heat it here so that this bends and falls out of the way so that I can slide the blade in and out. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Alright, it's starting to, see, it's poofing back up. So I'm going to let it poof back up because my belt loop is a little off to one side. You just keep doing this. I found that on a section like this, you work the middle a little bit more than the edges because the heat works its way out to those edges. And this is hot, so you don't want to burn yourself. If you're not used to handling hot stuff, you know, you might want to put some gloves on. Even if you do, I mean, it can burn you if you handle it too long. Alright. Try putting the sword in here. Okay. I'm going to put my board. This stuff cools too much, and I got shit all in the way. Alright, we'll let that cool. It's almost a two-person job, but let that cool, and hopefully the blade being inside there, I'm straightening out any wave I've got in there. I mean, it's just right to the limit of what it can hold in there, being the 1 1/4 when it's squished. So could probably, if they make one 1 3/4, but it won't be as snug. I may have to find a way to sand the edges just so it's not difficult to pull out. We'll see how this goes. Alright, that turned out awesome. Well, now, what did I do? Alright, so I got a little wobble there. That's pretty good. Catching on something here. It depends how my blade falls in. If it falls in towards the back. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. Then what I'll do, now that I've got this, I'll heat this up again, come up, and Then I'll loop it in the halfway point to make the belt loop. I'm not sure how. I've seen people make these before. I think there's one more bend you're supposed to do. Maybe put this lip, when you bend it over, you make a lip here so that when the belt's in, it can't just slide right off. I think is how you do that. I had to experiment a little bit, but that's, yeah, I don't like that. Huh. But hard shell sheath, of course I'll sand it and paint it when I'm done. That'd be pretty badass. So I'm going to do some more heating and leave the blade in there, and we'll roll it over and see how to do that. Heck, by the time I got the camera on, the plastic, see, went, folds right here. So I've got the lip there. Let's see, about halfway. Where's that? From there. We'll go from the 11-inch point. That'll be 5.5. We'll heat it up right there, and then fold it over. Getting there. Okay, starting to bend. I'll just hold that there till it cools off. That'll easily accommodate a military utility belt. Now you can speed up the process of cooling this off if you had a rag in some water, rub on it, it'll help it set up. That's another trick from Backyard Boyer. So there we go. Let me show you what this loop looks like. Get it right there. I'm not sure how I'm going to attach this. I don't know if I need to put some rivets or what I'm going to do here. Yeah. I might heat this up a little bit and take the blade out. So heat this up a little bit so that I can flatten it out a little bit. It's got little ridges here. Put me a spacer in between. Heat this up so I can get it flat. And yeah, put a spacer and figure out what the heck, how to secure this. What I might have to do, cut me a section off of our scrap to use as a, oh yeah, there you go, use that as a spacer, and then I could rivet right there, and that'll make a good well, spacer, like I said, so that our belt will stay in there. We don't want to create a wedge. So yeah, that's probably what I'll do. That sounds like the best option right now. Alright, so I cut a little strip, about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch off of our scrap there. So I'm just going to heat it up. There we go. I'm going to flatten it out with a piece of wood. And we'll be good. There we go. Ooh, that is warm. There we go. And then any unevenness when I cut it, I can fix that with just sanding it off real quick. And it should have the right length, because I tried to cut it in half when I cut that piece off, so hopefully it'll be a perfect fit. Alright, I'm going to use this piece of steel stock to use as a spacer in there. It was cold, so what I did was I heated it up with the heat gun. Now it's just like room temperature. That way it doesn't inhibit me from getting the PVC to melt. So that's just a tip I wanted to share. Right now it's winter time, and that'll help me out. Okay, what I had to do, I did the back side first because I couldn't do both of them and have the spacer in there. So I did the back side first and flattened it, and then now I'll heat the top and then flatten it also. It doesn't take long for this to get soft. It's already pliable. Okay. Shit. Okay. If you don't have your stuff ready to go, it's when you screw yourself up. Alright, and then we'll just let that sit. And that'll be flat for us. Alright. Alright, so what I'm doing before I close this up, I had 2 rivets left of the leather working style. They'll work. I'm taking this edge off here. I already did this, so I'm just using the grinding tool on the Dremel. Make pretty quick work of it. I always forget how useful this tool is. Yeah, Vonderkoff, he always remembers. I forget how useful this thing is. So that's pretty good. I'm going to use these leather type rivets. What you do is you drill a hole, push them through, put this washer. Good grief, this stuff's small. Press that down on there, and then mush the end, and that's good to go. So, the only thing before I do that, I'm going to have to figure how I'm going to attach my strap to tie it down or secure it. Alright, to find out where I want my strap, I've got the machete in its case, the sheath. I want it right around here. So, I'll see where it's going to go. Make me a center mark. Then what I'll do, I'm going to mount it with one of these. I had one last big leather type rivet. I don't want to use a bolt or nothing. I want stuff to be flush. So we know we want to come here. Right. Good. I'll make me a line, measure the middle, and I'll drill a hole with the Dremel. It's got the little drill bit. I'll do that. And then mount that strap there and put some snaps. Alright. Got the little drill bit in the Dremel. See if it's big enough. A little bit more. So it goes in there. We just have to put it in from the back side so that I can smash it down and stuff. Like that, see? And it sits in there flat. Can you guys? Yeah, see? Sits in there flat. Alright. Then I've got my piece cut here. I'll put a little hole in there, cauterize it, set this, and then I can put the snaps how I want, make it fit tight, loose, whatever. So, alright, one thing I had to do, when I put my rivet in here, this was too far forward. So what was happening was, once the rivet was there and I made it as short as I could, then I went to put this in, it was trying to rub against these knots, and I thought over time, in and out, it's going to wear that out. And if it breaks up here, I'm totally screwed. You break down here, it's one thing. Up here, you got to redo the whole thing. So I backed it off a little bit, and now what I'm going to do, the snaps that I showed you how to install on the Condor Tactical leg holster when I modified that, now I'm going to put a receiver one. I'll probably put the receiver on this side and the top snap on this side, because my thinking is as you walk forward, you don't want to have the top snap here catch and unsnap. So I'll put it facing towards my back that the strap goes, and it snap right there. And that's my thinking on that. So that's what I'm going to put in next, is the snaps. And I'll put the bottom one first, and then I'll see where the top one needs to go, and I'll probably leave some of this extra so I can, you know, pull on it like that to open it. Alright. So put the snap. I took it over to the right of the center line there. Like that. It should have a nice rounded top like the military snaps. Somehow I ended up with one less round. So that's my very last snap right there. Then I gave myself a little there so I could unsnap it like that. And the last thing we need to do is put our little, where'd it go? Our little spacer here. Yeah, it's right there. And rivet that in, and we'll be complete minus painting. So, it's looking pretty good so far. Very happy with it. Alright. I've got my spacer in here. I've drilled my holes with the drill bit that goes in the Dremel. I don't remember if I ever showed you guys how to set these leather rivets. They just look like that. When you drill your holes, you want to make sure that you have enough clearance for that head, that when you put it on, it's not going to be sticking out, catching on something. And has a little washer that goes on top of it, and you want to have that clearance also. It's about the same size as the head. So let me do one for you to show you. Got it sticking here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the other rivet in, because I don't want this to get out of line. So I've got a metal surface under here to pound against. So I put my washer here, and then they sell these tools, but they're not hard to make. All it is a metal rod. It's got a hole here that has enough clearance that the rivet, the hole probably goes about this deep, and what it does is it sets the rivet. And I'll show you how to do that. And right on the other side, right here, there's a round divot, and that rounds out the head. So what you do is you take the hole, set it there, see, yeah, that's there. I bought the first one, and then I just made the other sizes I need. They sell these rivets in different diameters and lengths. So we've got the excess sticking up. We want to cut this. See, I've got maybe a 1/16 sticking out of here. And then you can take this tool, the part right here that's a divot, is just rounded, and what that'll do is mush the top of this down and stop the washer from coming off. Oops. It gets it started, but I've found over time that the back of the ball peen hammer, it's really good for mashing it out. See, I can get that flat rounded down real good so that I don't have an edge catching on any gear or clothes. And that will not come off of there. I've made leather sheaths before and used this technique versus stitching. And when I realized I did something wrong, go to grind this off, it's hell to get these off. It is a very, very secure way of doing it. So we'll do the other one. I got a little bit of support for the other end here. I don't want to stress it out too much. There we go. You put your washer, the hole, so we can set that rivet. Okay, there we go. We'll nip it off and leave about a 1/16 or so. Make sure you wear safety glasses. I'm not doing. We'll get this started with the rounded out part. And then we'll get it real good here. Get this cloth out of the way. That's not going going to come off of there. The only way that rivet's coming out is if this metal breaks. Alright, and that's how you do that. Same technique on leather. You punch your holes, set your rivets, and if you're making a sheath, you want the, like a, you know, that divider so that your blade can fit in whatever thickness you have. That's the way you do it. Okay, I got it pretty much done. I went with my Dremel, went over the edges, took any sharpness off, rounded things off, you know, so it's nice and smooth. Then I took some 120 grit paper and just kind of went over it a little bit. It does bind up your paper a little bit. You have to take it and clean it. It really gets in that sandpaper. I use like 120. And then, not thinking, I put my strap on before I painted it. I get excited doing these projects, and I just trying to get them done. And so I had to cover up my retention strap with some tape, and when I paint, that way I don't get the strap all nasty. So I'm just going to take some flat black spray paint, and I'm going to go over it, and then I don't know later if I'll give it a camo pattern or what, but I'm going to go over it with black now. So I just want to let you know what I did. The only reason I really went over with the sandpaper is just so the paint can kind of get a grip on it and hold. Alright, so here we go. Got the finished sheath, the hard shell, for my modified two-handed Katana machete from Cold Steel. It's got the snap retention. We'll do it. There we go. Good. It's got the belt loop that's big enough to hold the military web belt, and I'll use it probably on one of my videos. I think I showed you how I mounted the Cold Steel kukri machete to my rucksack. This may be replacing it. I got a little bit, the only thing I want to change on this is a little bit of the blade angle, but other than that, that's pretty cool. That's the first time I've ever used PVC for this. I've seen a lot of people do it, and it's not that bad. It's pretty cool. I like it. Good way to secure it. A lot better using this to strap it to my rucksack with a rigid sheath than, you know, the old floppy here, which is fine, and it didn't have a belt attached. It's made for the across the back, but with indoors and all that, this isn't the way I'd go. Plus the handle was too long. But that's the sheath hard shell made from 1 1/4 inch PVC, and like I said, I don't know, I might give it a little green speckles and stuff like that to kind of, I don't know, I like it black. Flat black is good. So that's that. You can do it. I did it. So there you go. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you guys got some ideas from this. PVC is freaking awesome. I love this stuff. There's more projects I want to try. That's pretty cool. I think that's really neat. I'm very happy with that. I'm V the Amazing Greek. I thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. And I will see you again here on the YouTube when I have another project that I'll put together for you. So thanks for watching.